Well, this is Michael David Cobb Bowen for Cobb Vision, and I'm doing an answer video to Infamous Chris about prospects for black unity. Chris, I wanted to just hip you to, first of all, my own website. So I'm interested that people get hooked up, and I know networking is important. And I recognize that there's a broad sentiment for the ability of blacks in the middle class to take blacks in the ghetto and elevate them somehow, but it's not going to happen, and I'd like to disabuse you of that fantasy. First of all, let's talk about class within African America. There is no black unity, there is no black monolith. That was only achieved because we were oppressed. We were squeezed into a little box. We were forced to live all together despite what our desires were, despite what our abilities were, despite what our God-given talents might be. We could not express them. So black unity was only created through the force of oppression and slavery and laws, racist laws. So once those bonds were restricted, we go free, which means we go in our own direction, we choose our own life, and we do what we want to do. We're still restricted in some ways by the bonds of class. And within African America, there are 5 classes. At the bottom of the rung would be the projects and the sticks. If you live way out in the boonies in a tar paper shack, you would be in the sticks, or in government housing like Robert Taylor Homes, that would be the projects. The next level would be the ghetto. The ghetto would be places where you can't get a bank because there's only check cashing places, and the vegetables are no good in the supermarket, and you know that. There's no shopping malls or anything like that. The next is the hood. The hood would be, I guess, Spike Lee's vision of Crooklyn, where there is some community, where there are churches and people like living there, and old people are safe. Excuse me. Sorry for the coughing there. And then up is the burbs, and on the top of the pile is the hill. Now, let's pick up on Chris Rock, because Chris Rock said there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. And I'm going to use that metaphor because I want you to understand that there is a psyche out there, and the psyche is that the broad African American middle class will be able to use government money in a political process to raise the votes of those in the projects and those in the hood. Doesn't work like that. It's never worked like that in the history of the world. Okay? That's socialism, and socialism doesn't work. It works for a short period of time, but it creates a different set of problems. We won't get into that. Here's the easy way to remember it. Wealthy people can make middle class people rich. Okay? So if like you're Jerry Buss, you can make Kobe Bryant Kobe Bryant. Okay? Jerry Buss is wealthy, Kobe Bryant is rich. Kobe Bryant can't own a team, so he's not wealthy. You need wealth to do that. Okay? Rich people can give ghetto people middle-class jobs. Upper middle-class people can probably get people from the projects into the ghetto. Okay, that would be like social work. And that's how it works. But there's not going to be a broad middle-class people that lift the economic boats of the poor and the destitute. So we have been suckered a little bit by W.B. Du Bois, by Booker T. Washington, by Martin Luther King, because what it takes to move 10, 20, 30 million people up a class, that's war. War. Something as big as war will do that. Now, I'll tell you what Dr. Frazier told me, friend of the family. He said, before World War II, nobody respected the Japanese. After World War II, when it came down to killing and that kind of stuff, well, yeah, that moved the whole economy. All right, but that was the Marshall Plan. That was a different thing. You have to raise the stakes. If you want to raise the boats of 1 million people, well, maybe you can do that in a government program. But 10 million people? No. And we have 36 million people, African Americans, in this country, and there's not going to be anything that makes that huge a difference. Even affirmative action may have lowered the black unemployment by 2 percentage points, maybe 3 percentage points. Okay, but the rest of it, all you get is social mobility within a class or two, and that's what you can do on your own initiative. So anyway, I hate to disabuse the fantasy. I know this is going to cause a lot of headaches among progressives. Maybe they'll get us an answer back so that you can hold out hope for change in politics if you vote for the right person. But if you look at the actual history of African Americans, we moved off the sharecropping and we gave up the agrarian life for the urban industrial life. Okay? And that was mainstream in the American economy. You move out of Mississippi, you go to Chicago where the factories are. You move to Detroit where Ford is, and Dearborn. Okay? And then you raise a middle class family that way. When you get married, you have babies, you own a mortgage, then you'll realize that maybe you can't get your Uncle Fred out of jail. And you start to recognize what's possible in the context of real life. Okay? African American unity, class, reality, war, and real economic change, yes, that's possible. That's about all I'm going to say. I'll talk to you later, and I hope you answer me back.